Hi, and welcome to the second episode of my series about why you can't stop or defeat Donald Trump with hateful attacks against him and his followers. We'll start today by talking about something that should be clearly obvious to everyone by now: the sheer ineffectiveness of using hate, outrage, and ridicule as tactics when opposing or criticizing Donald Trump. I know. There's plenty about the man that can make your blood boil. He's a polarizing figure, to say the least, and it's easy enough to get caught up in the heat of the moment. But here's the kicker. All that hate is not slowing him down one bit. In fact, it might be doing just the opposite. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Instead of extinguishing the flame, you end up fueling it. Let's break it down then. Think back to the 2016 elections. Remember when Hillary Clinton made that infamous comment about Trump's supporters, calling them a basket of deplorables? At the time, it might have felt like a satisfying jab, a way to express the frustration so many of us were feeling. But what was the real impact? Did it push people away from Trump? Did it make them rethink their support for him? Not even close. If anything, it had the exact opposite effect. Made them rally around him even harder than ever. Why? Because they felt attacked, looked down upon, and ridiculed. And Trump, ever the opportunist, took that collective anger and turned it into fuel for his campaign. You see, when people feel hated or ridiculed, they don't usually change their minds. Human nature kicks in, and they just dig in deeper. They become even more entrenched in their beliefs and even more committed to their cause. And that's what's been happening with Trump's base. They see the hate directed at him and by extension at them. And instead of backing down, they just get more determined. It's a badge of honor, proof that they're fighting the good fight against the elites or the establishment or whatever boogeyman they've decided is the enemy. Let's take a closer look at why this happens. When people are criticized in a way that feels personal, they don't hear reason. They hear an attack. And when you're under attack, your natural instinct is to defend yourself, not to question whether the attack is justified. This is especially true when the criticism is broad brush and involves negative labels. It doesn't just bounce off. It hardens their resolve. It reinforces their belief that they're under siege and that they're the last line of defense against a hostile world that doesn't understand them. This is something that Trump has mastered. He knows how to play the victim card like a pro, turning every bit of criticism into evidence that the system is rigged against him, and by extension, against all of his supporters. It's not just about Trump, it's about the people who stand behind him. They don't just see him as a leader, they see him as a symbol of their own struggle and their own grievances. So when you attack Trump, in their eyes, you're attacking them. And that's not a recipe for changing minds. Now, let's think about this strategically. If our goal is to make a real difference, to sway opinions, and maybe even bring some folks over to a different way of thinking, then we've got to ask ourselves, is hate really the best tool for the job? If we keep going down this path, we're just going to keep getting the same results: a deeper divide, more entrenched positions, and a political landscape that's more polarized than ever. Instead of hate, what if we tried a different approach? What if we focused on understanding why people support Trump in the first place? What are their fears, their hopes, their frustrations? What is it about Trump that resonates with them so strongly? If we can tap into that and have honest, respectful conversations, we might actually start to make some headway and progress. I'm not saying it's easy. It's a lot harder to engage with someone who holds views that might seem completely alien or abhorrent to you. But if we want to change the course we're on, we've got to do the hard work. We've got to find common ground, or at least a place where we can start a dialogue that's based on mutual respect, not mutual destruction. We've all seen it. No matter what gas gets thrown at him, Trump's still in the game, and his supporters are there with him. So if we really want to make a difference, we've got to find a better way. Because if hate hasn't worked by now, it's probably never going to. It's time to try something else, something that might actually lead to real change instead of just more of the same old shouting match. That's it for today. I'm trying to keep each episode in a manageable size so they're easy and convenient to watch. By the way, it's really important to me that you watch these episodes in their entirety right to the end. YouTube uses several factors to determine what content to feature and promote. Obviously, how long people watch it is pretty important, but also how many likes you get, how many viewers are commenting on it, and how long people watch each video. If they exit and shut it down after just a minute or so, your video is not considered popular, and YouTube limits its exposure. So anyway, do what you can. It's all appreciated. Our next episode is an important one. It's going to focus on what the appeal of Donald Trump is and why he has such a strong following. It's just too easy to dismiss his supporters as misguided or misinformed, which, by the way, is exactly what they think of you. But that doesn't get us anywhere, and there's so much more to it than that. So we're going to dig deeper to understand what's really driving his popularity. And spoiler alert, it is indeed a lot more complex than just liking Trump. Once again, thanks a lot and see you next time.